Hi everyone! I know that everyone is hyped for this server slam weekend that's coming up, and I'm gonna have a lot more content for you guys about that. But in the last few days, I've been playing some Torchlight Infinite, which actually just launched its new season, the Cube of Rapacity, and I want to talk you through it a little bit. In case you didn't know it yet, Torchlight Infinite is yet another ARPG that has actually just celebrated its official launch with Season 3 release. I've already played the game quite a bit myself, starting back in the closed beta actually, when it was only on mobile, and then in Season 1, again in Season 2, and now again in Season 3. So I've kind of like followed its development, and for me it has always been a really cool little game on the side, so to say. Torchlight Infinite is the spiritual successor to Torchlight 2 and developed by XD, who are also sponsoring this video, so I want to say thank you very much. I can just log in here and show you around with my current character. This is my lethal flash Carino. This is a bow and pistol guy that has a lot of projectile based abilities and synergies. I'm level 53 here, so I'm pretty much just finishing campaign and getting ready for the end game that has some kind of mapping system. By the way, I mentioned earlier that I played the game on mobile in the past, but it actually has a PC client these days. This is actually the Steam client that you can download, and the game is for free. I have a link in the description if you are curious to try it out. Anyway, here's my current character. I'm just gonna like explain quickly how it works so that you understand the footage that you're seeing. So that, as I mentioned, this is like a bow and pistol guy. So I have a crossbow right now, and I shoot a lightning shot. So this is like some lightning arrow that explodes on a hit, and it can also jump between enemies, for example. In fact, you can actually customize your skills to your liking quite a lot. So the way that the skill system works in this game is that you have main skills, you can see them here, they have up to 5 active buttons, and then you can support them with support skills. So in my case, I just added a lot of damage to my lightning shot. For example, here's added lightning damage, I have lightning penetration, I have wind projectiles, which also helps with extra projectile speed, so they fly faster and further and they deal more damage. But there's a lot more also utility effects and interesting effects. For example, you can make this jump to different enemies, you can make this pierce more targets, you can convert this lightning damage to another damage type, and all these kind of shenanigans. Even for quite simple utility or buff skills, for example my potion that gives me life and mana, there are the support abilities. So for example here we have emergency restoration, so that the effect is increased when I'm low life. But there are other effects that also give you other various conditional effects. So you can always tune the builds to your liking. So that's definitely one of the strengths of the game in my opinion, is the customization of your characters. There are tons of different options available for both active and support skills. So you can always make a new combo work, a new type of character work. And then there's of course the different heroes that have their own different specialties. So this is like the projectile guy here that I'm playing. But there's also, of course, a melee character, there is spell focus characters, minion focus characters. All of the main archetypes are present. In fact, with each season, they actually always introduce new characters as well. So I'm not playing a new character right now, but this is actually one that was introduced later, I believe in Season 1 or something like that, the one I'm playing right now. But I just like it so much that I'm playing it right now. But for example, they introduced Bing this time around, which is also a projectile-based character, but instead of shooting those projectiles yourself, you actually throw them as kind of grenades, and then from those grenades, those projectiles explode in all directions. So you can play projectile builds, but in a completely different fashion. XD is also trying to keep the gameplay fresh every single season by expanding the game and adding new seasonal mechanics. So I mentioned that this is the Cube of Rapacity season, and I can actually show this in action here right now. So at the end of every run, there is this cube spawning, and you can interact with it and covet for items. So it gives you like an assortment of items that you can try to gather from this cube basically for free, but you have to gather these points for it from certain marked monsters on the minimap. They have a red dot, and if you defeat those, you will have more of those points available at the end. Some of those rewards can be extremely valuable, for example some big legendary items, or divinity slates, which are part of the new character progression system that I have just introduced, the statue of the new god. So you can find these divinity slates, and you have this kind of Tetris grid layout here, where you can actually combine various passive effects from those new divinity slates. So this is one of the main features of the new season, that you can acquire these different slates, and you can also, for example, craft them, you can rearrange them, so you can adjust them, for example, put them in a different slot here, as you can see, and there's more slots unlocking as I go to higher levels. Right now I'm still quite low level, so I don't have that many options. And there's also different shapes, so if you can adjust the shape if you want, you can actually use one of your crafting currencies to, you know, change the shape from like a square to maybe like a line, or, you know, some other type, for example, this type of shape here, so an L shape. So there's like all kinds of shapes and all kinds of different effects that you can try to combine. In fact, when they previewed the system in the original seasonal announcement, it actually seemed like some really 200 IQ move system to me, where you have to really try to put everything in the right place, first of all, but then there's also certain effects. For example, like you can increase the effect of an adjacent slate, or you can like even copy the effect of another one, so you can stack certain effects even higher. So I think this is going to be some really big min-maxing tool for the blasters later down the line. And for me as a theory crafter, something like that is obviously very enjoyable. I like these kind of long-term progression systems where I can work on my character. I can try to figure out the best way imaginable to stack exactly the stats that I want for me, and at the same time have a customized setup in the end that is unique to my own character. Of course, in the coming days, most of us are going to be busy with other stuff, including myself. But for example, after this weekend, you know, while we're waiting for June or so, this might be a really nice game worth picking up. If you have any questions, then always feel free to stop by on the stream, or check out some of our Maxroll creators that are actually covering this game on the Maxroll site as well. In fact, not only that, but there is actually an in-game button that leads you to Maxroll because they are partnered with us. So it just opens this new page here, as you can see, which is really amazing. And then of course we have our streamers here, Milky, we have Tanky, because then they are already blasting and also enjoying the new season's content. So in case this game entices you and you want to try it out for yourself, then just go check out some of those leveling guides. For example, here gives you the game walkthrough, and then maybe take one of the build guides, search for leveling. This is exactly what I have done when I first played this build that I'm doing. It was the Carino Lethal Flash leveling guide. That's the one that I'm following, and it's superb if you like bows. Just one thing to keep in mind, since it's a free game, there are obviously microtransactions in the shop. There is also a slight pay-to-win component, but honestly it is relatively minor, I think, so no one really seems to be bothered by that. But for example, some of those heroes might not be unlocked for you. Some of them are either acquired from hero emblems that you can get from just playing the game and doing certain objectives, or also the newest hero being, for example, if you want to play that one, this one is part of the season's release, and you will have to actually buy it if you want to play this one in particular. Either way, Torchlight is a pretty fun game for me to keep an eye on and play on the side. So of course I'm mostly a Diablo blaster. I guess most of us here are. But, you know, there are always those downtimes, and I think for that it can really fill the little gap. Again, since it's a free game, you can't really do anything wrong by just trying it out. There's a link in the description, so feel free to check that and download it there, or just check it out on Steam for yourself. And that's also it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you again, XD, for sponsoring. And I'll see you guys next time.